Okay, so the last video cut off. Real quick though, without a valve cover, this thing is a board with wheels. So I just did a little adjusting. The wheels more or less straight. Nylon lock nuts, you need those. You could use, I'll do some review here in a minute. When you're doing your drilling, these 4 holes have to be precise. We actually marked them with a leveling square, measured them off with a tape measure to each other and everything. We didn't measure to the top of the board because this was not a precise cut. I mean, I had a 10 and a 12-year-old cutting this thing, honestly. So that cut up here, not too precise. What we did here was we used a level from the side of the boards, which are untouched. This is an unmolested board. It's what it came from the hardware store on the sides here. Measured from there, got our marks from a certain point and everything. Set that up. We play with it in the yard. It seems to go more or less straight. Remember, we can adjust the alignment though. These holes are not precisely drilled. We just got them in the ballpark. Now, as I do this, remember it has to go a certain way. Sits nice and flat. What I've got stacked over here on the side, I've got, I think those are 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 to get through the valve cover. It's a pretty thick piece of wood I've got. If I was doing this again, I don't think I need as thick of a piece of board as I'm using, and I'm going to be working on the valve cover here. I don't think I need this thick of a board. I think considering what we got here, I wanted that wheel with the bearing in it. It was $3 more per wheel to buy that setup. I don't know if I necessarily needed it. It was something like $8 a wheel versus $5 a wheel for just a plastic wheel. But that enabled me to tighten into the wheel tighter than I otherwise would have. And for that little value alone at the time, I appreciated it. You also pick it up. You don't necessarily need like a nut right there. I used a nut as a spacer. Plus I was able to do a double lock trick by tightening those two into each other. And having 2 nuts on the thread enabled me to use that trick, and it just so happened an extra nut was also the perfect spacer to set those wheels right on the outside. My current way of thinking is that having a wider track for the wheels will make the car track straighter going down a track. But I have not tested this theory. I do want to give a shout out in this video series as well. And I don't even know who they are, but they're these group of guys. They go to Daniel's Performance Center for a car show every year. They benefit a charity, usually a military veterans charity in Smithfield, Virginia. And they do a spectacular job. They do no trophies in their car show. It's all for fun. And what they do is they just let some kids play with these cars. And what inspired me to take a look at this, I have my girlfriend's nephew who loved playing with the cars, but I did observe, not to offend anyone, what I thought was a fundamental little error is that durability on these cars is a problem. I did not build this to win a championship or anything. I built this car to last. Now, if you're running in a championship, one of the things you learn in real life racing at least is that sometimes the fastest car doesn't win. The car that can last wins. A lot of these guys, when they use like roller skate wheels, it's very common on these cars. The problem is though, the axle. The axle is like way smaller than this 1/2-inch piece of thread I had. It's like probably smaller than a 1/4 inch. It's like kind of like what we would use on a car for like a air cleaner stud that goes on the carburetor. To me, they don't look very. They bend. I've actually seen people bring spare axles just for when the kids would run. Because these cars, I mean, the kids aren't trying to destroy them, but the thing is, you run them down a track 25 times. And it hits concrete, it bounces out into some rocks, they get damaged. So I did want to make sure when I built this car, I wanted to build a car tough enough that a kid could play with it all day and hopefully never even have to put a wrench on it. The only thing my nieces had to do to this car all day was keep tightening the nuts on the wheels. And I've seen that happen quite frequently at the valve cover races in Smithfield, Virginia as well. And my intention here is that when we get this car right, that's about all we should ever have to do. All I'm doing right now is just going around the car, just tightening the nuts up on the hold the valve cover to the board, just to, you know, you need it. Otherwise you just got a wooden board with wheels, so you need to cover that up. So like I said, I think it could go cheaper on the wheels. You don't necessarily need that extra nut, but it also helps kind of lock two nuts together so you can pull it. Because if you're just trying to put a nylon nut on a piece of thread, you're going to have a hard time. Just go get it and try it if you want to see what I'm talking about. It's just not going to end particularly well. Got two more nuts to tighten here. I didn't necessarily need as long of a nut as I've got on this thing to hold these pieces together, but hopefully they won't cause me a problem. The bottoms of these threads aren't really any lower than the axle. I didn't even ran that one down my finger yet. And you know, you can decorate. Decorations are key too. Sticker it up or whatever. Maybe put like a little guy. I see one guy had like a little windshield and a little supercharger up here, and a little guy driving the car back there. Now for the rules, looks like I might actually be in violation because it does look like my front wheels are actually setting past the front of the valve cover. That is usually a rule. You can't usually have your wheels up there. But it's a car for fun. So you may want to take that into account when you drill and set your wheels. Do not let them sit past the front of your valve cover. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like mine are doing it. I might be able to adjust that out of it. I'll take a look at it later. Might be able to even set my valve cover farther forward. I know there's a rule, 12 pounds. Another criticism of this card it could be is the weight. The rules I have usually seen say that the car can only weigh 12 pounds. So this car, when we weighed it, was like 11.6, and we don't even have an external ballast in here. Some guys put like a weight and they can move it around and stuff. We do not have any other weights in this car. And just the equipment, the hardware alone, it's just about illegal. It's illegal with the wheels. I can re-drill it and fix that. That's not a problem. I'm not going to worry about it. I don't really care. Any other thing I want to say about this before we end the video? Hopefully, like I said, I built this for durability, and hopefully it can inspire, help somebody else. But it's heavy, it's sturdy. Hardware you would need, we've got right here 8 1/2 by 13 thread nuts. We've got 2 pieces of 1/2 inch by 12 inch long all thread. We've got 4 lawnmower wheels with the ball bearing, which I don't necessarily think are necessary. We've got 5 1/4 thread nuts with washers on each side holding the valve cover to the board. We've got 8 number 10 machine screws with number 10 wing nuts and washers as appropriate, and we've got 4 pieces of electrical conduit, 4 pieces of conduit holders and a piece of conduit on the thread. And there's the car, and as you can see, rolls back and forth. The camera's low enough to quite catch that. And hopefully it'll be a fun little piece. Like I said, just need to make sure we read the rules and make sure we more carefully set that front axle, however. Or what I could do is just claim this is the front. That's probably what I'll do. I'll just claim this is the front. Alright, thank you for watching.